What's up everybody, I'm HoopsandHipHop and welcome to a bonus video. Now, we're doing a bonus video today because the Pokemon Company decided to drop a pretty big piece of news on us, and that was the reveal of Meltan's evolution. Yes, Meltan actually has an evolution and not just a form change, and that comes in the form of Melmetal. Now, Melmetal is something that a lot of people theorized would happen to Meltan, and that's basically the result of a bunch of Meltan coming together, similar to Zygarde, to create a new Meltan form, but this time, it's an actual evolution as opposed to just a form change. With that being said though, I wanted to cover Melmetal in an interesting sort of way instead of the usual reaction or discussion videos, and so I've done some research and actually found out some pretty interesting stuff about its design and its origin that I want to share with you guys today. This is all pretty fascinating stuff, not gonna lie, so why don't we go ahead and just check out 5 things you need to know about Melmetal. Okay, so this first point is rather brief, but it is important because we will be coming back to it later. According to the Pokemon website, Melmetal is an ancient Pokemon, and it's the first time that Melmetal has been seen in 3,000 years, which is an interesting number, and I'm sure you can figure out why. Additionally, it says that this Pokemon was worshipped for its power to create metal. Following that up, Melmetal was also given its own unique move as well called Double Iron Bash, and the way it performs this move is by essentially punching its opponent twice with its big muscular arms and using its huge dark gray segments, if you will, that are attached to its hands. Now, the reason why I bring this up is that given the fact that this move is called Double Iron Bash, we can assume that these new gray segments that are on Melmetal's body that it uses to perform the move are iron, and the reason why this is noteworthy is that Mercury and iron actually have an interesting relationship. There's an interesting relationship that can be done with Mercury and iron called the Mercury beating heart, where if a piece of iron such as an iron nail is brought in close proximity to Mercury, it will actually cause the Mercury to move about and oscillate as if its heart is beating, and therefore kind of giving it life, which is kind of interesting considering this comes in an evolution of Meltan. However, the irony here is that iron is also one of the very few metals that Mercury is actually unable to combine with, even though we clearly see it here in Melmetal's design. Coming up next is an interesting fact about both Melmetal and Meltan. Now, we all know that Meltan and Melmetal are based on Mercury, and we all know that Mercury is a liquid metal. However, the reason why Mercury is a liquid metal in the first place is because it has a very, very low melting point, that being -38 degrees Fahrenheit or -39 degrees Celsius. And if you're new to science, a melting point is basically the point at which a substance will melt from a solid to a liquid, which actually can explain why you see the word melt in Meltan's name and part of the word melt in Melmetal's name. Another interesting thing about Melmetal that's specified on the Pokemon website is that its body becomes solid upon evolving. Now, the reason why this is interesting is because outside of being straight up frozen, the only way that Mercury itself can become a solid form is by combining or amalgamating with other metals, which is why we see the iron in its design that we discussed earlier. Now, what's really interesting here is that the word amalgamate that I just barely used is a word that is commonly used when talking about Mercury, and it is defined as combining or uniting to form one organization or structure, which is literally exactly how Melmetal evolves, using a bunch of Meltan combining together to evolve into Melmetal. And last but not least, for this last fact, we're really going to bring it full circle because we're going to be talking about Melmetal's and more specifically Mercury's relationship with Pokemon related things as a whole, since of course Mercury is what Melmetal and Meltan are based on. So first off, in the last fact, I talked about how Mercury amalgamates with other things, and amalgamate basically means Mercury combines with other metals to create new substances. And it just so happens that 2 of the most significant amalgamations that happen with Mercury are the Silver Amalgam and the Gold Amalgam, which of course are 2 very important games in Pokemon's history, and it just so happens to be the main color scheme of Meltan and Melmetal as a whole. On top of that, platinum is also related to Mercury as being one of the only metals that Mercury is unable to amalgamate or combine with, so take that for what you will as it pertains to Sinnoh remakes. And finally, we've got the part where it all comes together, because Mercury, as I discussed in our previous video, is known as Azoth in alchemy, and of course you have Azoth in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire being the project name for Team Magma and Team Aqua's big plans that they have, and that plan is being described as wanting to bring everything back to its beginning, which is what Meltan and Melmetal as Mercury Pokemon are doing, being debuted in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which are remakes of the very first Pokemon generation. And on top of that, we have the very first fact that we discussed in this video, and that Melmetal hasn't been seen in 3,000 years, which just so happens to be the exact same amount of time that AZ from Pokemon X and Y was waiting around for his Floette. And of course, A and Z, making up AZ's name, are the first and last letters of the English alphabet, just like Omega and Alpha, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, are the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet, which is where Project Azoth originates, which specifies the desire to bring everything back to the beginning, which Meltan and Melmetal are doing, being debuted in remakes of the very first Pokemon games. So yeah, it all comes together pretty dang well. And there you have it, everybody. Those were 5 things you need to know about the new Pokemon Melmetal. I really hope you guys enjoyed this bonus video because it's really fun to cover brand new Pokemon news as it's being released, and I'm really excited to do it as the Pokemon hype season ramps up over the next year or so. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and let me know down in the comments below what your opinion on Melmetal is, what you think of these facts, and if these facts and learning a bit about its origin change your opinion on Melmetal at all. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more Pokemon content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, as well as occasional bonus videos like this, getting you guys caught up on all the new things happening in Pokemon. And be sure to go check out my Twitter for the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee giveaway, because you have exactly 1 more week to enter. With all that being said though, I will be back tomorrow for Thursday's regularly scheduled video, so be sure to come check back for that tomorrow. And until then, as always, I love you guys, and I will smell you guys later.